Imagine being able to view and tour the Camera Ruins, Matopos National Park, and also be able to view and tour the art and exhibitions in the National Art Gallery in Bulawayo. Well, you can all do this all in the comfort of your home, and you're just in luck today as we sit down and chat to Nkosana Masuku, the founder and CEO of Phenomenal Technologies. He explains to us what 360 View is and walks us through the latest installation he has done for the National Art Gallery in Bulawayo. Welcome to the Tech Garage. I'm your host, Sean, and today we'll learn a bit more about 360 View. Nkosana, welcome.
Hi.
What is Phenomenal Technologies?
Phenomenal Technologies is a startup in Bulawayo which is meant to empower the use of virtual reality systems in Zimbabwe.
Okay. When did this idea of Phenomenal Technologies come through? I understand your previous profession was a teacher, or you're still a teacher.
Well, I was a teacher teaching at a rural school in Matopo district. So it came to me through, when I was teaching, I discovered that students basically don't have exposure to field trips. And then that's when I started to play around with virtual reality. And in a way, we developed what is called Fundo VR, a platform used for students to take low-cost field trips through virtual reality.
Okay, so how has been the uptake since you've launched these 360 or virtual realities? What has been the response been like?
The response has been good. The response has been great. We've managed to work with some schools. We obtained clearance from the Ministry of Education to actually provide our services, and we've won a couple of awards, so it has been really great so far.
Great. Can you please tell us more about these awards you have won? You've been to Senegal, you've been to Madrid. Can you please tell us more?
In Senegal, it was last year in October. We were basically selected as one of the top 50 innovators across Africa to present our Fundo VR innovation. So what happened when we got there, we pitched and presented our innovation, and we got lucky to be selected as one of the top 10 innovations for education in Africa. And for that, we won a prize for it, which helped us to scale our Fundo VR innovation.
All right. You have left the teaching profession.
Yes.
How do you prepare yourself to run a tech startup company like this?
Basically, you find yourself doing it. If it's something which you really love to do and to play around with, it becomes easier for you to follow it, even if it means like leaving your profession and pursuing what you don't really see as clear as how it's supposed to be. So you basically find yourself in a setup where you can run it and develop it further due to your passion and drive.
Okay, so we're here, we are at the National Gallery today.
Yeah.
We want to find out what software did you use to create the 360 view? Can you tell us the walkthrough?
Well, it's not just about softwares. The gallery tour, what we did is we used special cameras, 360 cameras, and then we took multiple, I think we had about 600, 700 images, which we all stitched into different 360 views, then to come up with the whole immersive tour. So it's not just about software, but different components which link up to, at the end, to provide the final tour.
Okay. So, Phenomenal Views, are you the only one running, or you've got other people working in your startup? How many are you in your startup?
In our startup, we are 4. We have a coordinator who is a female. Then we also have our marketing and sales guy, and one of the curriculum development guys also as well.
What do you hope to gain or achieve by putting the National Gallery in a 360 view? Does this not take away the experience of one coming into the gallery to view these lovely pictures behind us?
So what we're doing with the gallery tour is we're hoping to get more people to actually come here through the virtual tour. Because as of, we launched it on Sunday, this past Sunday. And so far we've had about over 500 people touring the gallery online. So the reception has been good, and some people have been shocked that the gallery, there's such beautiful artwork in the gallery, and some have even opted to come and see it in person. So with the virtual tour, basically we're encouraging people to come and experience the artworks because exhibitions are always changing. So if people can get to experience the tour, then it means they can then finally decide to come and actually experience it in person. It makes it easier for them to appreciate the artwork which is here in Bulawayo.
You spoke about Fundo VR, right? How does one get hold of these VR tours?
So Fundo VR is basically meant for learners. So what we do is we provide low-cost virtual excursions for them to actually experience and travel like some of Zimbabwe's places like Victoria Falls, Matopos, because the situation which we noticed here in Zim is rarely do schools get the opportunity to go to actual field excursions. So by bringing virtual reality and the trips to them, it becomes easier for the students to learn at a low cost of these places which they learn about in their curriculum.
All right. I'm going back to Madrid and when you went to Senegal. What has been the perception of the view? Because people will say that in Zimbabwe we're a bit slow when it comes to implementing these innovations. What is your opinion or the view from others after you've won this award? And you beat I think 50 other nations, I believe.
Yeah, so in Senegal, the African Union thing, it was quite great because you get to have an experience of like competing with other African people who are also doing some great stuff in education, and it was a great learning opportunity. And in Madrid, that one was quite outstanding because, you know, when you finally get your innovation recognized as far as Europe, it really shows that there's a worth of pursuing it, and it boosts you up as an entrepreneur to continue developing it further. Because in Madrid, we're the top 5 in Africa in terms of tourism technology, and that was really a great opportunity for us to even develop further and get some partnerships which have helped us to be where we're at right now.
All right. You speak about partnerships. My next question is, have you managed to tap into the tech scene in Bulawayo? How is the collaboration and partnership coming along with other tech-minded people like you in Bulawayo? Do you collaborate?
Yeah, we actually collaborate. Here in Bulawayo, I'm part of the Tech Village. It's a collaborative working environment for early-stage entrepreneurs. So we have different people doing different kind of work, especially in the tech space. And working with those people, you get to help each other developing like your products. As in the collaboration, it becomes easier for you to get want to do what they're doing and to basically showcase what all of you are doing in the same sector. So it's the collaborative working environment is quite easier here in Bulawayo, and it's great thanks to people like the Tech Village who continue to help us be where we're at.
Okay. Since you've left the teaching profession, what challenges have come up running the startup? Have you faced any challenges?
Well, of course, running a startup in Zim, there will always be challenges. We have like funding challenges, all those kinds of things like any other startup. But I think the value mostly is in your networks. Because if you continue to build more networks for yourself and be exposed, like the gallery virtual tour which we did right now, it has helped us to get other people who are also interested in doing like the virtual tours for them. So the more you work and provide value for other people and network with other people, it becomes easier to basically navigate as a startup despite the challenges which you are obviously facing here because of the environment and economic situations.
All right. The fourth industrial revolution, this is the age of the fourth industrial revolutions.
Yeah.
With such technologies and innovations like yours, how geared up are we as Bulawayo, as Zimbabwe, for the fourth industrial revolution?
I think this is the perfect time for us as entrepreneurs who are in technology to actually drive this fourth revolution. Because if not us, then who? So I really encourage like people to really pursue it. It doesn't matter, like no matter how small you think it is. Sometimes you just have to put in the passion and continue working on it to develop it further.
Okay. There are many people with a passion and drive like you, and most of them will say, no, I'm leaving Bulawayo, either going to Harare or leaving the country to pursue my dreams. Why did you decide to start Phenon Technologies in Bulawayo, and why did you stay?
I decided to start it. Well, it wasn't an option rather because I'm here from Bulawayo already. So when I started it, it was already based here, and due to us being part of the tech village, it was easier for us to have a working environment. So we already had all the resources which we needed to actually have a start. And I know like Harare must be considered as the tech hub of Zimbabwe, but I actually think it's Bulawayo because if you notice, most innovators are coming up from here, Bulawayo, and it's becoming easier to showcase our innovations across the world even. And I don't think there's really a limit towards whether you're from Harare, from Bulawayo, but what's really encouraged is to push your innovation to an extent where it can get recognition and expand further. Because at the end of the day, we're just trying to solve specific problems to make life easier and better.
Have you been in touch with, let's say, the authorities like the city of Bulawayo, maybe the National Gallery, or even the government, to try and convince them or partner with them to scale up your...
Well, it's working with the government. As a startup, you need to integrate with the government. So in terms of our Fundo VR service, we already got in touch with the government, and they gave us clearance to like work with the schools. And in tourism, I actually met my Mafumiro in Madrid, the Minister of Tourism, and they really appreciated the work which we are doing, and this has helped us to even partner and do some more collaborations. Right now, we've done some work for Zim Parks. We've created virtual trips for Matopo and Vic Falls. So those are the things which continuously help you to develop further and scale as a startup to work with the governments.
How easy was it to work with the Bulawayo National Art Gallery in Bulawayo?
It was very relatively easy because of the wonderful director which is here, Butholezwe Nyathi. It was phenomenal doing this work, and we're going to be actually having a launch of other VR stuff which we're planning on working on here at the gallery. So it has been relatively easy.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is the most rewarding part of your job as the director of and founder of Phenomenal Technologies?
The most rewarding part is seeing your innovation out there and people actually using it to navigate. Like if you have users who are continuously using the service for their lives to become easier, that's the greatest feeling. And especially for Fundo VR, it has been the greatest because you get to touch learners' lives. You get to help them like experience stuff which they wouldn't have experienced in a lifetime. So it has been really great seeing that kind of uptake with our services.
Right. And where do you see Phenomenal Technology and you, let's say in 5-10 years' time?
Well, startup founders are obviously very ambitious, and we probably see ourselves as the biggest VR service provider in or Southern Africa in the next 5 years. So we just keep on building and hoping for the best.
What do you have to say to other young people growing up who have a passion for technology but do not know where to start or do not want to take the plunge?
I think in our age it's becoming easier to start because of all these resources which we have, like the internet. That is probably the greatest place to start. There are a lot of opportunities, different opportunities out there for people who are doing kind of different innovations, and as young people, it's just getting started. That's the most important part. Whether if you have an idea, no matter how small it is, you just have to find people already in that space, talk to people who are in the space. We have great innovation hubs here, even Bulawayo, across Harare, like the Tech Village, where you can go in and network with other people who are doing that kind of thing. So it helps you basically to also start as a young person and to find your way towards where you want to be and how you want to develop your service.
With the advent of the fourth industrial revolution, many organizations are trying to find innovative ways on how to engage with their audiences. With that in mind, we chat to the director of the National Art Gallery in Bulawayo, and he explains to us what he hopes this new virtual tour will bring to the National Art Gallery. I'm sitting down with the director of the National Gallery in Bulawayo, Mr. Butholezwe Nyathi. How did this collaboration come about between you and Phenomenal Technologies?
Thank you very much, Sean. Yes, indeed, as the National Gallery in Bulawayo, we have been in collaboration for the past month with Phenomenon Technologies and their tech hub based here in Bulawayo. One of the things that I set out to do when I assumed office in May 2019 as director of the gallery was to, indicate my interest towards digital art content. And then to signal that kind of thinking, I then saw that it is prudent to collaborate with Phenomenon Technologies, particularly for purposes of doing a virtual tour of the National Gallery in Bulawayo. This is a 360 degrees immersive experience of all the public spaces of the gallery. At the click of a button, you are able to take a quick tour of all the spaces. The Anglo-American Gallery, the Marshall Baron Gallery, the Artist Studios, the Savona Craft Shop, the Courtyard, and all other public spaces. And that one is an impactful intervention on our part because it then allows people who have never been to the space to develop interest in the space. But of course, it's early days, but we then invited Phenomenon Technologies, who then brought headsets to allow people to then have that direct experience through the headset facility. And the feedback that we have received so far is that there is indeed interest in that kind of content, which is a departure from the traditional mounting of art pieces on a wall. So it's experimental, it's early stages, but it signals our interest to digitize our exhibitions and public programs.
Okay. I've also just read that you are planning to hold your first exhibition of digital media. Can you tell us more about that?
Yes, indeed. I have been privileged to travel the world, and I have seen some of the exhibitions in the first world. And like I want to acknowledge all the time, the future is digital. If you don't prepare for that digital future, you will be overrun by technology. And all the young people are found in digital spaces. In Zimbabwe, 65% of the population are below 25, and most of them, particularly so in urban spaces, are found online. They've never been to the gallery. How can we go to the spaces that they patronize all the time and enhance and generate interest in them visiting the gallery physically? So I think digital exhibitions are a way of developing interest in art in general, in visual art in particular, hoping to ultimately lure them to come to the gallery in its physical being. So the digital exhibition certainly will be the ultimate deliverable to say, to what extent can we get digital artists, for instance, to curate a show which is all about imagining Bulawayo 50 years from now. So that is an idea that will be rolling out in due course to say, if a digital artist, you are a citizen, you are a resident of this city, what are your impressions, what are your desires, aspirations for Bulawayo 50 years from now, artistically, infrastructure-wise, service delivery-wise, and any other idea that you have, but give us your impressions and your vision for this city, and whatever they come up with, we then hope to have a show that we showcase to the public.
Okay, interesting, very interesting. What has been the uptake so far since you have made the 360 immersive view of the gallery? Have you been getting more inquiries and stuff?
Certainly, the reaction online has been positive and affirmative. People find it very refreshing. There are some who have never been to the gallery, who have suddenly discovered that the gallery is, after all, a very beautiful building, a historic building, been in operation since 1901. So that's how old it is, over 100 years old. So people have discovered the beauty of the gallery, and there is interest to then visit, but it's early days, and we're still mapping out the mechanisms of monitoring who visits because of that virtual tour. But in the fullness of time, we hope to have a system that will allow us to track and have no affirmative submissions to say, I came because I undertook this virtual tour. But for now, it's experimental. We will roll it out even more and get more feedback, but ultimately, like I said, it's to have digital exhibitions. What we're doing now is just to whet the appetite.
Okay. And I've seen that, I think since you came on board, all of a sudden you are found on social media spaces. And I see now when people want to do events like the Berita one, people are now applying online to get tickets. What other innovations or other tech ideas do you have to move this gallery moving forward?
Ultimately, the desire, our mandate is to make sure that visual artists are thriving as practitioners and as individuals. They have studios in this space, they do their work, they produce it, and they deposit in our craft shop. What we want to see ultimately is us selling those products via our website. We have an online payment system, and we have an efficient distribution mechanism globally, where at the touch of a button, people can see the artwork which is in our collection, and they can order online, and it gets dispatched, and it's efficient like that. That's the vision, because ultimately money has to be seen exchanging hands, because that is what sustains life, and that is what will make the space creative. So online presence is all about being responsive to contemporary trends. You know, there is no way a gallery in the 21st century cannot have digital presence. So for us, we are just but conforming to expectations and hoping to use that to make the gallery to be a vibrant and thriving space. If people have positive online impressions, the expectation is that they also want to associate with the brand, which is why you then get these artists coming here seeking collaborations with us. And for me, that is very delightful, because the vision and ambition is to be a vibrant visual hub for the visual arts in particular, and the arts in general, which is why we allow other art forms to come and thrive and find expression in our space.
All right. And you've mentioned something interesting about the virtual tour. At first, I also was a bit confused, but I think you spelled it out. But maybe if you can repeat it more.
Right.
So only if I use the virtual tour, if let's say there are these exhibitions that are paid for, as someone sitting at home, will I be able to access those arts that are
Right.
paid for or private tours?
What we will not do is to immediately upload all exhibitions. Thinking for now is that we should perhaps promote more of the permanent collection exhibitions. By when I say permanent collection, you know, we have a collection which is the visual memory of Zimbabwe, and particularly Matebeleland. That maybe is the exhibition that we can showcase through a virtual tour. But these other changing exhibitions, we may not profile all of them, particularly so at the time that they are running, maybe as part of our archives collection, because we want to make sure that we balance the desire to attract physical visitors versus online excitement. But the thinking for now, before we roll it out fully, is perhaps we can showcase the permanent collection, which is ours anyway.
All right. And then lastly, where do you see the National Art Gallery in 5-10 years from now?
Well, certainly will still be now. But no, on a more serious note, the desire really is that if Bulawayo claims or believes that we are the cultural hub of Zimbabwe, my ambition is that the National Gallery in Bulawayo should be the platform and the space where you feel that cultural radiation. You know, you should come here, it's lively, it's happening, everyone wants to be associated with the gallery, whether a visual artist or not. People should start to appreciate art, visual art in particular, and also find other art forms being expressed in this space. So ultimately, it's all about having a vibrant cultural hub that people of Bulawayo are proud of and hold in high regard as being the epitome of the cultural vibrancy that is expected of Bulawayo.
Okay. I would like to add on that. I think you're getting there, because I've also seen on social media that you've got these parties or functions happening called late night.
Friday late.
Friday late, yes, and it seems to be catching on. I think you're on the right track, and I will follow in, and it seems like.
Thank you.
Thank you for giving us time.
Wonderful.
All right. Cheers. Shalom. Nothing beats the experience, the ambience, and the beauty of these artifacts that we've seen at the National Gallery today. As Butho and Nkosana have said, this 360 view tour is another innovation that compels you as the viewer back home to come to the National Gallery and view for yourself these beautiful exhibition and artworks. This has been another episode of the Tech Garage, and I hope you enjoyed it. That's it for this week. See you next week. Bye.